Yes. And here we go. Hi everyone, welcome to 9th and 10th channel of BYJU'S. I'm your teacher Ankita and I welcome you all in today's session where we will be taking a look at the important case-based study questions from biology. So I hope that all of you are ready. Before we get started with the session, I would request all of you to have your notebook, your pen or the pencil so that you can note down the important points that we'll be discussing in this particular session. Let's get started with it. So we know that case-based study questions were introduced, few years back, and it's a very easy way for us to obtain marks. So in the science paper, which is of total of 80 marks, we have different sections altogether. We have 5 sections. We have section A, which have the objective questions, section B, which have very short questions, section C has short type questions for 3 marks. Then in section D, we have 5 marks question. And in section E, right, we have something which is very, very interesting and super important. And that is the case-based study question. Now, this particular section will be having 1 question, right? Of course, from bio, from physics, from chemistry. And of course, we have the 4 marks, which will be awarded for each particular question. So we have 3 questions over here and of course we'll be getting 4 marks. Especially if we talk about the biology, we'll have 1 question, of course it will be giving us 4 marks. So it's become very, very crucial for us to focus on this particular question. Now it's a very easy question altogether, so we don't have to worry about. Now if you talk about the case-based study questions, right, mostly they are very easy. We just have to read the paragraph properly and we'll be able to find the answer. So as I clearly mentioned before, right, we will be having, 1 question from each of the subjects and of course we have to find the answer. Talking about the case-based study questions, right, and when we talk about them, then why they're really very interesting and super crucial for the examination, right? We will be having a set of application case-based study questions. We will be seeing that the questions will be kind of interconnected and they will be mostly checking the knowledge that we have. We have to connect the content and based upon that we have to extract the answers from it. It will be based on the short case story or on the different types of themes that we have in our textbook and probably related to the day-to-day life also. Especially if you talk about in genetics and in environment, we can have questions. In the reproduction by sex determination is something that usually comes in the case-based study question. So we now know that what kind of question can come from the case-based study question, right? Then, if you talk about it, these are really very important in the examination. Now, easier way for us to score 4 marks directly. They're very easy to score, help in scoring well. Of course, take less time to solve these questions, right? We just have to read the paragraph. There will be 3 or 4 set of questions that we have to answer. And of course, there are wider scope for solving these questions. There's no set answer, right? And of course, it gives you the freedom of what you think about the answer and then you can definitely write over there. So now we have the clarity that what types of questions can come and why they are really very important. Now, from where we can study them, of course, we have only one resource, which is the golden rule that we have in the CBSE board examination is to read from the NCERT and the NCERT, right? So you read the chapter thoroughly and I'm sure you'll be able to cater all the questions that will be coming on the case-based study, right? So this is very important. Read the NCERT line by line. That will be giving you the understanding of the content. Now, having said all of this important information, now it's time for us to start solving the question. Stay with me till the end. You can watch this at a 2x speed so that you save your time and do share this video with your friends. Let's get started with the question number 1 and here we have. All human chromosomes are not paired. And you can underline the important words that you feel that. Most human chromosomes have maternal and paternal copy and we have 22 of such pairs. But 1 pair of a sex chromosome are odd and is in not always being perfect pair. Women have a perfect pair of sex chromosome, but man has a mismatch pair in which one is normal sized chromosome and of course while the other is shorter. So now we have in this particular case-based study question, this particular paragraph, we're talking about the number of chromosome and the size of the chromosome. Now in female we have X and X chromosome which are of same size, right? And in the males we have one chromosome which is normal size and the other one is a shorter one. So So that's what we have from the paragraph. Now let's take a look at the question that are being asked over here. Question number 1, right? In humans, how many chromosomes are present in zygote and in the each gamete? Very easy question. We'll be solving the other question, so don't worry about the other questions over here. Now, the question is that in humans, we have to find out how many number of chromosomes are present in the zygote, that is after the fertilization, and before that, we have the gametes. So very easy, right? In the zygote, we will be having the 46 pair of chromosome, 46 chromosome, not the pair, or 23 pair of chromosomes, right? And in the gamete, we will have 23 pairs, right? Now, of course, over here 22 plus X chromosome in the male, then 22 plus Y. And in female, we have 22, right? 22 plus X chromosome. So that's the answer we have, right? Moving to the question number B. The question B is that a few reptiles rely entirely on environmental clues for the sex determination. We have to comment on that. Now, reptiles like over here, right, like turtle, they purely depend upon the, the temperature that they are in. Based upon the temperature, right, of the incubation, the gender, right, or the sex is determined in the reptile. So here we have that particular answer. Moving to the next question, the question number C talks about that the sex of a child is a matter of chance and none of the parent is considered to be responsible for it. We have to justify it through a flow chart only. Now, we know that the sex of a child is not a matter of chance, right? None of the parent is responsible. Basically, if we take a look over here, we understand that male are responsible for giving the gender to the child, right? Because in males we have X and Y chromosome, and in females we have X and X chromosome. In males, what can be the case over here? If this X chromosome and this X chromosomes comes together, we have X and X and we have a girl child. But if we have this Y chromosome coming with the X chromosome, we have X and Y, and the child will be a boy. So we can clearly say that, yes, parents' chromosome, right, the sex of a child is definitely a matter of the parent, and of course father is more responsible for it. So we can write an answer that in a chromosome from the father which decides the sex of a newborn, if a child receives X chromosome from the father, it's a female, and if a child receives Y chromosome from the father, it will be a male. So based upon that, we can write the answer. Moving to the part C of the question, right? There are two C parts over here, and usually the question number 1 and 2 are for 1 mark, and the C question that we have always over here is for 2 marks. The question C is that why do all the gametes formed in a human female have a X chromosome? Very interesting question, right? Now, of course, we have the X chromosome because they have the same type of chromosome over there, X and X chromosome. So here we have the answers for it, right? Question number 1 can answer that in the gametes, right, we will have 23 chromosomes, 23 in the egg and 23 chromosome in the sperm. Zygote is a diploid cell, which means that it will have 46 chromosomes. Then in the question number B, right, which we're talking about the reptiles, some reptiles, right, completely rely on the environmental signal to determine the sex. The temperature over here plays a very important role, right, which fertilize the egg and store determines whether it is developing into a male or in the female, right? In a case of lizards also, we know that lizards also be used, right? An individual in some species, such as snail, the example over here, can change the sex in response to the stress and to the environmental factors. Moving to the C part of this question, over here, right, the sex of a child, that question that which of the parent determines, we can clearly mention that the sex of a newborn is purely and completely chance, right, and definitely depends on the parent, right, and of course we can clearly mention about this fertilization over here, right, we can show we have boy if the the X and Y are coming together, and the female child, right, if we have X and X coming together. That was a question number C answer, right? Based upon that, we are moving to the last part, which was that why do all the gametes formed in a human female have the X chromosome? Of course, They are the homomorphic, right? They have a same type of chromosome. They have the identical copies of both the chromosomes, and each gamete in meiosis receive one X chromosome at a moment of the gamete creation, and thus X chromosome is present in all the gametes. Question made really very easy. I hope that you got the answer for this particular question also. We had 4 questions, right? Total of 4 marks, 1 and 1 for question number A and B, and of course in C part for 2 marks, and that gives us total of 4 marks. With that, we are done with question number 1. I hope that you got it. Now let's quickly move to the question number 2. Question number 2 is lengthy. Let's quickly read the question very carefully. Mendel blended his knowledge of science and mathematics to keep the count of the individuals exhibiting a particular trait in each generation. He observed a number of contrasting visible characters controlled in a pea plant in a field. He conducted many experiments to arrive at the law of inheritance. Now we have 3 questions, right? And of course, we have total of 4 questions. We have the OR over here. We have A, B, and C. Let's take a look at the question number A over here. We will read the question and we'll solve it together. What do the F1 progeny of a tall plant and round seed and short plant with wrinkled seed look like? So in this particular question, we have the parent. One parent is tall and has a round seed, that is capital T, and capital R and capital R. That means they are dominating. Over here, we have short plant with the wrinkled seed. Small t, and small r and small r. Upon the fertilization, right, or upon the cross between these two, what we will get? We will get the gametes, capital T and capital R, small t and small r. Based upon that, we will have the progeny, right? The F1 generation that we have over here will have the capital T, small t, capital R and small r. Now this is a genotype over here, right? Now if you take a look at the characteristic features in a phenotype, we can clearly say that the plant is tall and plant is round, right? So the answer that we can write over here, that all as tall and round are dominating, right? In the F1 generation, offspring will have the characteristics of the dominating trait, right? So in F1 generation, that we will see that we have all plants which are tall and round seed, right? And of course, it's a heterozygous condition. Over here, we have a homozygous condition because we have same type, right? But of course, later, we saw that we have different types altogether. It's a heterozygous condition that we have over here. So we got the answer for the question number A. Now let's take a look at the question number B. The question number B is, we have to name the recessive trait in the above case. Very easy. The recessive trait is a wrinkle in the trough, right? Small t, small r, right? So over here we have the answer for this, wrinkled and the short plant or the dwarfness. Moving to the C part of the question. The C part is that mention the type of a new combination of plants obtained in the F2 generation. So we have seen that what will be the result in the F1 generation. We got capital T, small t, capital R and small r. That is what we got in the F1 generation. Now we have to obtain the F2 generation. So what we'll do a cross, right, like this, and we will be able to find what are the new combinations of the plant that we will be getting in the F2 generation. So based upon that, we will have 16 of different types altogether, right? We have tall and round. Then we have short and round. This is a new combination that we have. It is short and it is round. Then we'll have the tall and the wrinkled. So based upon that, we have 9 plants, right, which are tall, and of course which have the round seed, which is a dominating trait. Then of course we have 3 plants which are short, but they have a round seed. Then we have a tall plant which wrinkled seed, and we have a short plant with a wrinkled seed. So that is 1. Based upon that, the phenotypic ratio will be 9:3:3:1. So over here, it's a very simple cross that we can do. If you get this question in the examination, this is the F1 generation. We'll do the selfing of it. We will write all the gametes in this way, and of course we will cross it and we'll have the important characteristic features. Easy peasy. So that was a part of the C. Now we have another question over here for the OR part. Let's take a look at that. The question is over here, if 1600 plants were obtained in the F2 generation. So we did the cross, right, and then we obtained 1600 plants in the F2 generation. We have to write the number of the plants having the trait. Now, how many of these 600 plants? May say how many of them are tall and round and how many of them are short and wrinkled. Very simple formula that we have for this particular question is that we will be using that we have tall plant and we have to found with a round seed. We know that how many plants were there? We saw in the table, if we go back over here, 9, right? 9 that we have over here that were tall and round seed. So we'll use this 9 upon 16 number of total plants that we have over here, and based upon that, and we have 1600, which is the total number of plants that we have obtained. If you do the calculation, we will have 900 plants which are tall and round seed. Short plant with wrinkled, of course, we just have 1. So 1 by 16 into 1600 will be getting the answer as 100. So we have 900 plants which are tall and round and 100 plants, right, which are short and wrinkled seed. So we got the answer for this particular question. Right? And this is how you can solve this question in the examination. Now, we have to remember that Mendel question are very, very important and can definitely come in a case-based study question. So, please make sure you get thorough with the dihybrid cross and the monohybrid cross also. With that, we are done with this question. Now, let's take a look at the question number 3. Now, this is from a very interesting chapter and this is very interesting question. Now, over here, we'll be using our observation skills. We have to see the graph that we have over here. This particular graph talks about the average height of boys and girls in the population. Based upon looking at this graph, we have to find the answer for some question which are given, right? So let's look at the graph. We have the height in the centimeter. We have the age over here. We have the age starting from the 4 years to the 20 years. This line, right, this one over here, I'll just make it over here. This line represents the boys and this line represents the girls. Okay. Now, we have the height over here in centimeter and we have the age in the years. So, we have this information about the graph. Let's take a look at the question that are being asked. Over here, we have the 3 questions. We'll read the questions, right? And over here, we have the or part also over here. So, let's start with the very first question. The question is that, what does the graph indicate? Very easy for us to find, right? The graph actually indicates the height of the individual of boys and girls, right, till the age, starting from the 4 and going to the teen age over here. So we can clearly say that, right, we can conclude that, of course, this graph talks about the height of a girls and a boy with the age, right? We can see that the height of a girls will increase, right? In the beginning, of course, the height of a boy and a girl are almost increasing in a similar way. But after the age of 8, right, we'll see that till the age of 12, we'll see there's an increase in the height of girls. At that time, the increase of the height of a boys is not that increasing. But after that, right, we will see that the height of a boys will increase. And at a certain time, right, around 20 or before 20, we will see that we'll have the stabilization in the height for both the boys and the girls. So that's what we can conclude from the graph. Question number 2 over here is that a student suggested a different title for the graph, right? So the student actually suggested a different title for the graph, which is the height of a boys and a girls from birth to adulthood. Is this title correct? We have to explain this answer. Now, when we talk about the title, right, the height of boys and the girls from the birth to the adulthood is, we can say that it's correct, right? Because at the age of 18 and 20, right, over here from 18 to 20 years of age, the adolescents become actually adult. So yeah, we can say that it's a graph that is representing the height of a girl and a boy from the birth, right, like from 4 years to the adulthood. So this is absolutely correct. Moving to the question number C part over here. Now we have to read the following statement and we have to find it whether they are true, whether they are yes or no. So statement 1 is that hormones are released directly into the bloodstream. We know that hormones are the chemical messengers, right? They are released by the glands and they are released directly into the bloodstream. So the answer will be yes. Endocrine glands use electrical impulse? The answer will be no. We know that endocrine glands are the glands that secrete the their hormones, right, basically directly into the blood. They don't have a duct, right? They are ductless glands. They directly release the hormones into the blood. So of course, they don't use the electrical impulse, they use the chemicals basically. They use the hormones for the communication. They release it, it will be going to a target organ, it will do its function, and that's how it works. Then statement 3. Sex hormones regulate changes associated with the puberty. This is absolutely correct. Yes. So we have 2 yes and 1 no. We know that the sex hormones are released, right? In males or in the boys, we have the testosterone, right? And in the girls, we have estrogen and progesterone. So definitely they regulate the change in the puberty, especially the testosterone and the estrogen. So with that, we are done with the C part of the question. Now we have the OR part of it. We have to find out the 2 common changes that we usually see, that changes in the boys and the girls at the time of puberty. Now, what are the changes that we see? So there are few common changes and few very specific changes that we see in the boys and the girls. Of course, there's a change in the boys of the girl. In the boys, right, we'll see the change of the voice. In girls also, we'll see the growth of the mammary glands, widening of the hips. Both in girls and the boys, we'll see the growth of the pubic hair, and we'll see that the pimples, acne will be more prominent in both the girls and the boys. These are few changes we have. So we can write our answers, right, in this particular way. So over here we have the first part, right? We can clearly find that the answer, it talks about the, the height of girl and a boy. Then of course the title of the graph, the height of a boy and a girl from birth to adulthood is absolutely correct, right? And then we had the question where we have to state yes or no. So we have the answers over here. And the last question, what are the changes we saw that happens in both the girls and a boy? We have thick hairs growth in the armpits, hair growth on the hands, legs, and of course development of the genitals in both in the girls and the boys we can mention. So with that, we are done with question number 3. 2 more questions remaining, everyone. Let's take a look at the question number 4. Here we have question number 4. Look at the table. Don't get scared of the table. Such questions which have so much of information, I'm telling you, are the ones which are very, very easy. So we'll be reading the statements, right? Or we'll be reading a paragraph. Let's take a look over here. We have to study the table in which, I'll come over here and then I'll move on the other side. We have to study the table in which the level of the thyroid stimulating hormone is in women are given, and answer the questions on the that follows on the basis of the understanding of the following paragraph and related to the study topic. So we have the table which talks about the thyroid stimulating hormone level in the women. So we have a range from 18 to 29, right? The normal range and the low range. We have the age of 30 to 49 and the range of 50 to 79. Now let's take a look over here in this particular paragraph. Women are at a greater risk in developing the abnormal TSH level during the menstruation, while giving birth, and after going through the menopause. Around 6% of the women in the United States have some kind of thyroid problem compared to the 3% of the men. Despite claims that high TSH increase your risk for heart diseases, in 2013, study found no link between high TSH and heart disease. But a 2017 study showed that older women are especially at a risk of developing thyroid cancer if they have high levels along with the thyroid nodules. So here in this particular paragraph, we talk about the thyroid level, right? And of course, we have 2 case studies, basically the 2 studies that were done in 2013 and in 2017. Based upon the information that we have just studied, we have to find the answer. So let's take a look at the question we have over here. Now, we're starting with the very first question. Question number A. A 35-year-old woman has TSH level of 6.03, right? Then we have the unit for it. What change should she bring in her diet to control this level? So if you go back over here, 35, so the woman is in the range of this. The normal range is over here from 0.4 to 4.0. But of course, if you take a look at the question, they have mentioned it to be 0.63, right? So that's the value they have mentioned over here, right? So we know that it is on the side, slightly on the higher side. Yes, so let's take a look over here. Now we'll be finding the answer. For example, if we have too much of the TSH, what will happen? It will indicate that your thyroid isn't making enough thyroid hormone, right? This condition is called as hypothyroidism or the underactive thyroid. And the women can incorporate iodine in her diet. Reduction of the sugar is very important, and the reduction of the processed food also will be helping in controlling her thyroid level. So this is very, very important. Now moving to the question number B, when do women face greater risk of abnormal TSH? From the paragraph, we can find out that women are at a greater risk of developing the abnormal TSH during the menstrual cycle, right? During the menstruation, not the cycle or the whole period, right? While giving birth, and of course, if they're going through the menopause, directly from the paragraph. Question number C that we have to state the consequences of the low TSH level. If the person have a very less amount of TSH, it is more likely that the thyroid gland is making excessive amount of the thyroid hormone. This condition is called as the hyperthyroidism or overactive thyroid. The last part of the or part of this particular question, we have to name the mineral that is responsible for the synthesis of hormones secreted by the thyroid gland, and it's very easy. Iodine is responsible for the secretion of the thyroxine. Thyroxine is a very important hormone which is secreted by the thyroid gland. With that, everyone, we have all the answers, and this is how you can write the answer in your examination. We have discussed these same answers in the questions, so I'll not be repeating it again. So here we have the answers. Do take a note of it. Now let's move to the last question that we have in today's class. We have from the genetics. We have Sahil performed an experiment to study the inheritance pattern of genes. He crossed tall pea plant with a short pea plant and obtained all tall plant in the F1 generation. So we have a mono-hybrid cross over here. We have a tall plant and a dwarf plant over here. We have to find the questions, and we have A, B, C and the OR part over here. So let's quickly solve the question together. The question is, what will be the set of genes present in the F1 generation? Easy peasy question, right? So we have the parent, right, which are capital T, that is tall, and of course we have the dwarf, right, the short plant. Now if we do the cross, capital T, small t and small t, we know that all the plants will be tall, they will be heterozygous, they will not be homozygous, they will be heterozygous. So we can see that if in F1 generation, all the plants will be tall. We can write that all plants, I'll write over here, right, all plants are tall, yes, for sure, right, they're heterozygous, right over here. Now let's move to the next part, right? That was a question. What will be the set of genes present in the F1 generation? We can write capital T and small t, right? Chali. Moving to the question number B, we have to give the reason why only tall plants are observed in the F1 generation. We can state that because the capital T and capital T, this particular gene, right, the trait is more dominating. It's basically dominating in nature, and it will not allow the recessive trait to express itself in the F1 generation, right? So we have the answer for this. Moving to the C part. When F1 generation, we have capital T and small t were self-pollinated. If we self-pollinate these two together, we got total of 800 plants, right? Out of these 800, the question is asking, how many of these would be tall, medium, height or short? We have to give the genotype of the F2 generation. So over here we have F1 generation. If we cross it up, right, we are doing the self-pollination as mentioned in the question. We'll have capital T over here. We have capital T and small t, capital T and small t, and small t and small t. So based upon that, in F2 generation, what we have? We have one plant which is purely tall, which is homozygous tall. Then we have two plants which are heterozygous, right? Then we have one plant which is completely recessive. So here we have, right? So the genotype that we have over here is 1:2, 2:1. And the phenotype, this is the genotype, And the phenotype over here will be 3:1. 3 are tall and 1 is dwarf. So we have the calculation over here. I hope that you got the answer. We're talking about F1 generation. We have to self-pollinate. So we will, reproduce it, or we'll self-pollinate it with the capital T and the small t. By the simple monohybrid cross, we will be able to see that 1 is pure tall, 1 is pure dwarf, and then we have 2 in a heterozygous condition. So based upon that, the genotype we have to find. So we have 1 tall, 2 heterozygous, 2 tall, but they're heterozygous, and then 1 dwarf. That is the genotype that we have. So we are done with this question, right? I hope that now it's really very easy for you. Moving to the OR part of this question, right? Okay, there's other part of this question, that how many of, out of the 800, right? Out of the 800, how many of these will be tall and how many of these will be shorts? Of course, 600, right? We can clearly see over here, right? Only out of the 100%, right? Only one, that over here amongst the 4, only 1 is short, right? So out of 800, if we have to calculate very simple math, 600 will be tall and 200 will be short. Moving to the C part, if we are using the F1 generation and we are cross-pollinating it, in the previous part we did the self-pollination, but over here we are cross-pollinating it. So we have the small t and small t, right? If this is the F1 generation, if we do the cross over here, where we have the capital T, small t and small t, we will see this, right? We'll have 50-50% of the chances, right? Yes? Clear, everyone? We have over here, in the F2 generation, we have 1 heterozygous tall, and we have 2, which is recessive. That's the answer over here, right? So out of 800, again, the question is that out of 800, what will be the number? Of course, it's a 50-50% chance. So 400. Easy. So we have the answer with us. So we can write this answer in the examination in this particular way. Right over here. And it's easy for us to find the answer in this way. With that, everyone, we are done with our questions, right? Here's a homework question for all of you. I will be waiting for your answer, everyone. Please make sure you write the homework question, and you please make sure that you practice these questions. Share this video with your friends and write the answer for this particular question. It's an easy question. I'm sure you'll be able to find the answer for this. I'll be waiting for your answer. With that, everyone, I'll say bye-bye. Do take care of yourself. You know that we have got you covered, right? Please make sure, everyone, you share this video with your friends. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this video with your friends, right? Most importantly, your examination are just around the corner, and we have planned so many interesting things with you. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel, and please make sure you see, watch the sessions regularly. Go on the community post. We always update over there about the number of sessions and what are the plans we have for you. With that, everyone, I'll be meeting you really very soon. All the best for your examination. Do take care of yourself and keep on learning with BYJU'S. Bye-bye.